Hey everyone. It's been a while since I've been on YouTube or done a video for you guys of any kind. So I thought I would jump on and do a live. Um, I know I didn't give you any advance notice, so I'm sorry about that. What I wanted to do was give you and answer some of the most common questions I receive. How do we get the most out of a reading, whether it's medium or psychic or any combination thereof? So let's talk about that a little bit because there is a misconception that mediums and psychics know everything. And please do feel free to put comments and questions in the chat box because I love to engage with you all. So, hi, Rico's mom. Um, so again, there is this misconception that mediums and psychics, we know everything. Well, that that's actually not true. Um, and so what I would love to talk about today is here are the best ways that you can get the most out of your reading. Number one, if you're doing a medium reading, if you're signing up for a medium reading, then put out to the spirit world a couple of days in advance. It's not necessary, but it can be beneficial. Put out to the spirit world who you would like to hear from, any questions that you may have for them. Um, if they wouldn't mind answering that in the reading for you, any signs that they give, have a conversation with them in advance. That can be really lovely. Again, it's not necessary, but it can help set the tone not only for them but for you. Now, the truth of the matter is, and maybe you've heard other mediums say this, is that we have no control over who connects nor in what order they connect. Now, I like to emphasize the order because let's face it, any one of us signing up for a reading is looking to hear from a specific individual, multiple individuals, anything like that, right? And that goes for mediums who go to mediums as well. So that we want to hear from certain individuals. However, the spirit world also is very aware of what is needed for us. So let's keep that in mind. And also, let's remember that they are still people. They are still living. They're still continuing life. So they're going to continue, they're going to communicate from their point of view, not ours. Just like you have your own internal world, uh, people that you're communicating with, they have their own vision of the way you communicate or the way that you are, right? So let's keep that in mind, is that they're going to communicate from their point of view. Now, I find that probably at least 98% of the time, the individual or individuals that you wish to connect with do come and connect in a medium reading. What throws us off sometimes are those that we didn't expect to hear from or transitioned a long time ago. And if you've signed up for a reading and you think, "Wow, I haven't," but that was 20 years ago, or that was 30 years ago, or I never met them, or that sounds like somebody that's tied to my brother or sister-in-law. So that can happen. And in general, what I do find is that they only stay for a short period of time, but there's a reason that they are there. Keep in mind, the spirit world has their reasons for doing things. There's always a message behind it. So let's just start with that aspect. Now, Rigo's mom is, can the soul's point of view differ from your guide's point of view? That is a great question, And the answer is 100% yes. And here's why: because your loved ones' personalities don't change. The analogy that I like to use is, if your loved one wasn't good with finances here, but they're trying to give you financial advice from the spirit world, you may want to think about that a little bit. Whereas your guides are going to be much more objective in their point of view, in their assistance with you. That's why you're paired together, right? So keep that in mind. That's really a biggie, because people love to ask their loved ones for advice. And oftentimes I will say, this is what they're saying, or they will offer it without me asking a question, anybody asking a question, because that's really our role, you know. Our role is to be the voice of your loved ones in the spirit world. That's what we're here for as a medium. And in that process, your loved one may offer some advice. They may talk about things that are going on in your life right now, which are my favorite tidbits, because that shows how involved they are. That being said, if they offer advice, remember, it's always up to you to decide, do you follow that or not? Because once we go into the spirit world, we don't become omnipresent. We just don't become all of a sudden all knowing of everything. If that were the case, every medium or psychic would win the lottery. I'm not even allowed to touch a lottery ticket, because they no numbers will ever get right. So it's a kind of a running joke. When my grandmother was here, that, did you touch it? Because if you touched it, I'm not going to win anything. So that was a really funny joke. Now, psychically is when we will work with our guides. And so, thinking about this, how do you get the most out of your reading, right? You invite your loved ones to come, put out questions to the spirit world that that you would like to have answered, right? Um, and be calm, be open minded, be open minded to anything that may come. Because if you hold on too tight to one thing and something else comes, you're missing out on the importance of the first thing or the other thing that is coming through. And it's critical, because the spirit world has this much time to communicate. Even if you set up a 60-minute reading, even if it's a 90-minute reading, that's really actually a short window of time that can cover a lot of topics. Sometimes we may have four people connect in a reading, and sometimes we may have one. So we just don't know, right? As a medium, we are stepping in, and as you joining, we don't always know what's going to happen. We just know it's going to impart not only that life continues on, but that our loved ones are doing well in the spirit world, even though we here may not be doing so well. Ideally, uh, a good reading, or a reading that would feel more satisfying, shall I say, is one that your loved ones bring up details of things going on right now. Like, I see you've changed, you're painting the walls. Or I remember a young man sharing with me, my mom changed her blouse 2 times so she would look nice for you. That was on the day of the reading, right? So things that show that they're present right now, right? Now, also, it's also important that you don't give the medium too much information. In a reading, you just want to say, yes, yes, that makes sense, or I can acknowledge that, or I can take that. No, I can't relate to that, or I can't accept that. Um, and it's very possible there are things coming up at that time that you just can't remember. Things like, I mean, take it this way. I would love for you to think about all of your loved ones, all of your friends, all of your family members right now, and remember all aspects of life together with them, or what you've learned about them right now. Not possible. And so in situations like that, You just want to say maybe, or I'm going to have to ask about that or look into that. So you don't want to give a medium too much information. A lot of times people are concerned that mediums are looking up information about them online. Well, I'm here to tell you any reputable medium, number one, is not doing that. Number two, uh, we don't have time to do that. I mean, if you're like in my shoes, I do everything myself, right? So I don't have time to look that up. Now, a lot of people may sign up with a false name, have somebody else book a reading for them. That's fine. It does not matter. It does not matter. All you have to do is even look at groups, and there can be 200 people, 300 people on those groups, and yet a medium is still able to make a connection when that group wasn't even set up with the medium being involved. So look into situations like that. All right. I do see Rico's mom's got some questions here. Do I do guide readings? It seems like that would be best for my personal growth. I do, and I'm starting to add another type of reading into my calendar where your guides connect directly for you and with you, or my guides more in a trance type of state. It's not, the schedule is not open right now, not yet. And I'm hoping to get that open in a couple weeks, but the first readings will be probably in July. So for July, August, and September. So, and does your loved one on the other side know your path on earth? Your loved one in the spirit world may know what's going on with you, but your guides are going to speak to you more about your path. Let's be clear on that difference. And since we're talking about guides here, let's talk about the difference in the types of readings. In my opinion, for me, whomever you get a reading from, whatever type of reading you get, I just want you to have a good experience across the board. Plain and simple. Medium readings are connecting with your loved ones in the spirit world. When it's time for psychic questions, which is related to life issues, uh, psychics may use a variety of divination tools like cards, tarot cards, oracle cards. Sometimes they may not use any tools and they're making a soul to soul connection with you. That's my method. Or guides may join in as well, which is also a part of my personal method. We all work differently. I like to say that there's no really right or wrong in the way that anybody's intuition works, because we're all unique individuals. As long as you're feeling good, solid, or comfortable that there's a click, that the information is coming for you. So you want to feel good about that. Now, here is something that's really, really important to keep in mind. On occasion, it is rare and it can happen where uh, a reading is not clicking for you. Perhaps a medium is sharing some information and it's just not making sense to you. Please, please, please don't be afraid to say, I'm sorry, I'm unable to resonate with this information. I cannot tell you how many stories I get where somebody didn't say that to the medium and they sat there for, 30, 40, 50 minutes and didn't say anything. And that's not going to leave anyone satisfied. It is really, really important that you are honest with the medium, because on occasion, we are going to have a little miscommunication. Remember, we're meeting your loved ones for the first time, perhaps you for the first time, and there's multiple different forms of styles of communication. There just is. So, or there might be a little miss. On occasion, the medium may not be the right or ideal medium for you. We don't always know why that these things happen, but they do. And when I say it's not going to leave anyone satisfied, it's not going to leave the spirit world satisfied. You're not going to feel satisfied, and the medium will not be satisfied. So it's really, really important that you are honest with the medium. And then at that state, partway through, don't wait until the end if it's not resonating. Say it throughout. And then you can have a discussion with the medium on options at that state. Everybody handles those things differently. Again, they tend to be rather uncommon, but it can happen. It absolutely can happen. I am seeing your questions, Rico's mom. Again, my calendar is not open at the moment, but if you go to my website, then you'll find some information. And we haven't added that guide service yet onto the calendar or onto the scheduling process. So all of my appointments are scheduled through my website. I just want to answer your question for you, which is my name, amy-utsman.com. All right, so that's available to you. Now, the other thing I would like to talk about here is how often we dismiss signs from our loved ones, how often we rationalize it away, how often we think that just cannot be possible, right? So, things like the sense of smell that reminds you of them. Now, if we line up 10 people and give them the same fragrance, everyone is going to have their own unique sense of smell, aren't they? So when you get a smell out of the blue that reminds you of your loved one, most likely they're around. That's what they're trying to tell you. You may feel their presence around you. And try not to dismiss these things away. You know, if there's something that happens and you just cannot um, make sense of it, it is usually a sign from your loved one. So please do keep that in mind. Always thank them for those signs and ask them to keep it coming and tell them, I want you to really make these signs big for me in a way that I will understand them. Because remember, they're going to communicate from their point of view, not ours, right? Hi, Joan. Um, there's something blocking your comment. Uh, I think it says you've been married for 16 years. I would like to know if he still loves me. Um, so I take it, Joan, because I'm not doing readings right now, but I take it that your husband is in the spirit world. Our bonds don't break at all. They just don't break. So that love is actually carried over. That's why they give signs. That's why they like to prove that they're around. Okay. That is absolutely what the signs are about. So, how do you find out from him? Um, okay. I have other videos on my channel really about signs and how you can get them and how you can make them stronger and how you can build upon those. So, you can look through and you'll see the topics clearly listed. That ought to help you, Joan. But just based on my experience of 15, 16 years of doing readings, when we had a good relationship here, that does not change from the spirit world. All right. Now, I am going to wrap up here shortly, but I just again want to reiterate really what the topic is about here is how to get the most out of your reading. So, when it comes to readings, it's really like a triangle, okay? It's the spirit world, if you're doing a medium reading that we're talking about here, it's the spirit world, it's your preparation, and it's the medium's preparation. So it's kind of a triangle. And ideally, you come in a relaxed, open state. Some skepticism is good. I'm a very skeptical individual myself. Not everything is a sign, not everything is a yes. So that is important to keep in mind as well. But be open minded to who connects. Once again, invite your loved ones you wish to hear from. That is important. Okay. Um, so that's the first part. Never, ever, ever be afraid to say no to a medium, or I'm not able to relate to that, or that's not making sense to me, or I'm not sure who this is. That will help the medium clarify for you as well without you giving too much information. We don't want you providing the medium for information. Let us do that for you. And notice I'm using the word us. That is me and your loved ones, right? Or any medium and your loved ones. That's what you go to a medium for. So you don't want to give a whole bunch of information. Save the stories for the end of the reading. We want to hear the stories at the end of the reading. It's a beautiful thing. Share the pictures at the end of the reading if you wish, you know? So, but save all of that information for the end of the reading because your loved ones want to show you without a doubt that they continue on and they are still involved in your life. That's important. That's what mediumship is about. When it comes to psychic, have questions in mind, write them down, be ready with them. In my way, I can only speak my way that I like to work is if I know I'm doing a medium and psychic reading combined, I always like to have some psychic information written down in advance. But it's important that you have your questions as well. Understanding this, that there are just certain things that we are not able to tell you because when it comes to psychic, the misconception is that we know everything about the future. That is actually not so, and here is why. There are so many pathways involved in the future. The way I like to work, and this is me, is I like to look at how the past is affecting the present, how that may affect the avenues of the future. There's always going to be more than one avenue on your future journey. And a lot of that comes down to the choices you make or other people's choices that intersect your path. So be very clear on the understanding of that. It is not a medium's role to be a therapist or a counselor. We are not trained in that, at least not most of us. There are some therapists who are also mediums that work do both types of readings. So, but for most of us, we are not trained in that. We're just not. So it's not our role. Ideally, we all have some resources to provide you with to help you continue on your journey. So that's the best way is to be prepared and get the most out of your readings, in my opinion. Um, so that's really what I wanted to focus on today because people come with similar topics. Let's face it, uh, grief is hard. You know, it is really a difficult journey, whether it's any of your loved ones, and this includes your animal companions as well. So I want you to be able to get the most out of a reading. And as you're leaving a reading or the reading is over, even through the next day, that you feel that you got a lift out of it, that you got a sense of comfort that, oh, that actually was a comfortable reading. Not having doubts at the end of it or not having doubts like the next day. If you're having doubts, then you may want to talk about the medium that you had the reading with about why you feel doubt after the fact versus just rationalizing everything away. Ideally, things are coming up from your loved ones that perhaps you weren't even thinking about or that are happening right now since that they're observing since they've transitioned, right? Things tied to life going on now, which can be simple as you rearrange some throw pillows or you haven't been making your bed since I left. It can be as simple as that, but it shows that they're continuing on with you. So I hope you found this helpful. And thank you, Rico's mom, for so many questions. Um, and a lot of information can be found on my site. So I love the YouTube group. I'm sorry I've been absent for so long. Had a lot going on, just like a lot of you. And I look forward to doing some more videos in the very near future. In the meantime, take care of yourselves and whomever you decide to get a reading from, get the most out of that reading as much as you can. Okay. I sincerely, sincerely wish each and every one of you all of the best. Take good care and see you very, very soon with more videos to come.